Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to an episode of Dirtnation Off-Road. So today what we have for you is bonus content from our 35's install on our Toyota Tacoma. Now, if you haven't watched that video already, go ahead and check it out, link below, everything like that. You guys know what to do. But we have additional content from that so that if you guys are trying to do all of this on your own, you can have some basic instructions on how we did it, as well as, you know, the video and everything like that. But the things that we're covering in this video is, first of all, the body chop, which is cutting the inside of the fender well to clear your 35s or your 33s if you're going to do that. And then the second part is the reinstallation of the overload leaf when you have an Icon add-a leaf. Now, this could probably go for any add-a leaf that you have, but the overload leaf is important for, first of all, towing, second of all, having a little bit higher ride height, because since I installed it back in, I don't rub with 35s anymore. But two-part video, 5 minutes and 5 minutes, and then that's it for the video. Not gonna do an outro after the video. We'll just wrap it up right here. If you guys have any questions, definitely shoot a comment below, as well as if you're interested in seeing when we install the tires at Antonio's Tires, go ahead and check out the link below, which is to our Patreon, so that you guys can see that additional footage, because we're only posting that there. You're not going to see it anywhere else, as well as other things that we post exclusively on, you know, Patreon. So other than that, thank you guys. Enjoy the video. Get it, do your thing. Bye bye. All right, getting started on our cap chop. So in preparation of squeezing 35s on this bad boy, we're gonna cut this part of the body out, and then we have some plates over there that I'll show you guys. And because you see right here, this is where the 33s rub. So once we have 35s on here, it's gonna be pretty much impossible to use. So you cut all of this away, weld a plate on there, and you just have to cut back as far as you can to the body mount right here. And we'll go more into detail that in a second. But this is really important. Highly recommended if you have 33s, mandatory if you have 35s. You know, obviously I've been running it for a while without the cab chop, but you know, it's highly recommended for 33s. But here's our plates right here. These are the plates that you weld on. Now mine are all rusty because they were under my seat when we flooded the Tacoma. Shout out to King of the Hammers. Shout out to Joey George. We got Joey George today.
The fit.
Tracksuits only. Nice. But we're at Paul's house right now. Paul's helping us out with this. He's got the bitchin' FJ, bitchin' third gen. He's got all these cool trucks, really cool trucks. But he's helping us out with the chop today. So we're gonna get started. Let's get to it. There it is. I wonder if my warranty's still good. Paul's making renovations. Woo!
Oh, we got one more.
Oops. Oh yeah, bottom one. How much do you think I can sell those for? Unused.
Still in the trash.
Weight reduction. I'm a race truck. Race truck vibe.
Tire clearance.
Good to see you in here. Damn!
Look at all that extra room.
Look at that. Splash right into the alternator. No. See, this is what they don't tell you about 35s. Hammer. Here's our clean cut. So he cut all the way into here, and what that allows us to do is start to bend and do whatever we got to do to weld that on there, and that'll just give a tad bit more clearance so that your tires aren't rubbing, especially with this lip right here. That's where it rubs the most. But and there's our body mount right there. Obviously you don't want to cut all the way into that, but kind of look like that. Well, we'll show you when it's all done. We also took this little pinch weld thing that right here, and then just bent it over so it doesn't start cutting into the tire. And we also took out all this inside fender stuff, and then we're cutting the bumper later for our actual bumper, but it's looking good.
luxury is just the steel mix. So the weld
There we are. Just gotta get that cleaned up.
I have no idea.
Looking good though.
I just seen them more
Clear. Ew. So here's our finished product. George just hit it with some paint and it's looking good to go. Look at, you have about 1.5 inches of extra clearance. Clear those big old 35s. You can get mounted on here real soon. So Paul's working on the other side, doing his thing. Then we're good to go here. But this is a relatively easy thing as long as you know somebody that knows how to cut and weld and measure and do all the pretty things that I'm never gonna do. But very nice. All right, here's the first test. We grabbed Paul's 35s. Beef test. Drop it. Con nada.
Oh my
We're
god.
gonna put our overload leaves back and our leaf spring set in the back, because when we did the Icon add a leaf, we took out the overload leaf. We're gonna put it back in there just to give it a little bit more lift because she does rub a lot. But that's pretty much it. And then I just gotta put my skid plate back on. I stripped the bolt. Maybe I'll show you how to take that out. Maybe I won't because it's pretty easy. But Winters is still sitting over there where she'll be for the next 6 to 8 years until I finally decide to sell it for $2 grand. Just kidding. No, we're gonna get it done real quick, but got a lot to do. Let's get to it. For the overload leaves, we're starting on the passenger side. Now, this is something, if you remember, we took these off when we did the add a leaf, which is this leaf right on the bottom here. Then it has this, whatever they call it, the bracket, and then this bracket right here. But what we're gonna do to give the truck just a tad bit more lift is put this sucker back in. But what that means is we're gonna have to cut this one off with the grinder because it's gonna get in the way right there. So, should be pretty fun. So fairly simple stuff that I'm doing. If you guys watched our add a leaf, you'll know exactly what we're doing. So first thing I did was I took off the shock. I took off the bump stop, which I have what are they called? Timlin bump stop. So they're a little different. Usually this plate is on the bottom and these U-joints will wrap around the leaf springs rather than wrapping around the axle. Either way, same premise. I'm gonna start taking these off. I already took off the bump stop. Gotta take off the brake line. And then once I loosen all this and loosen the other side, then the axle will drop a little bit and then we can set our leaf back in there. So for those of you that are doing an add a leaf, you can just circumvent all this by leaving your leaf pack in there by combining both videos. But I'll link that video below so you guys know exactly what I'm doing. But it's all looking good. So what we're gonna be doing now is for the overload spring, we gotta cut off this front one. So got my grinder, just picked this up from Harbor Freight. Now, you guys know I suck at installs. So watch me make all these mistakes with the grinder because I actually haven't used one before. I mean, I've used one before, but I've never owned one. This is the first time I'm owning one. So gonna do that, wearing eye protection, gloves, all that good junk. Let's get cutting. All right, so we're finally getting somewhere. Here is our overload leaf. I cut off the tab and I just hit it with a tad bit of paint. It's not pretty, but it's gonna do the job just because I exposed some metal there. But we're gonna put that sucker right underneath there, and then yeah, that other leaf that fell off, but we'll put all that back on and then put it together with our brand new bolt. So I just went to my local hardware store, or you can go to like a business that specifically, deals in bolts. Like there's one over here in Covina called King Bolt. Went to them, they gave me one of these, has an Allen on the bottom, so I have what fits that, and then it's a 14 on the top, and then that'll be your new one. It's good to go. All right, so I gotta do this a little sideways because I'm huge. But you got this shim piece, that's gonna be the very bottom, followed by the overload leaf itself. That'll be next, and then you have this leaf with the long piece facing backwards, and that's part of the add a leaf set. And then you'll just want to slip this sucker right underneath there. Now, when you have the truck's on jack stands, and then you have I have the axle on on a jack. So you have to move the axle around a little bit to make all this fit. I just need to thread this at least a couple times. All right, so that sucker's threaded in there. Now, got our Allen key, 14 for the top. And I'm just going to get in there and start tightening it and make sure all the leaves line up correctly. Like I said, there are better ways to do this. I'm doing this the lazy way. Start tightening this fucker real good. But yeah, you want to make sure all your leaves are lined up. I have this fucking wire on here, so I'm gonna... Usually you should use a clamp, but I used a wire because Vice Off-Road. Shout out to those guys. So, like I said, make sure all your leaves are straight. Continue tightening. Pretty damn tight right there. And there it is. So, like I said, you shouldn't have these overload leaves and just leave them in there when you do your add leaf, which is these two right here. But, you know, you live, you learn. Good stuff. All right, I'm going to start putting this back together, and then we're good to go for this.